Imagine watching someone you know on a security camera. They look terrified. Their eyes are darting around the room. Then suddenly they jump up, sprint past security, vault over a fence, and disappear into the woods. And that is the last time anyone ever sees them. His name was Lars Mittank, and in 2014, he vanished in broad daylight inside an airport full of people and has never been found. Wolfsburg, Germany. Before his name became a headline, Lars Mittank was just another face in the crowd, a 28-year-old with a steady job, a circle of friends, and a family who never saw trouble coming. Every weekday morning, Lars laced up his running shoes and hit the paths in Volkswagen's campus park. After a quick shower, he caught the regional train to the car dealership where he worked as a sales associate. Colleagues remember him as the kind of guy who remembered birthdays and organized after-work get-togethers. He was known for his easy smile and a habit of quoting survival tips from Bear Grylls documentaries during lunch breaks. Lars liked routine. He handled test drives, paperwork, and financing with a calm, methodical approach. He earned a decent salary, paid his rent on time, and kept his apartment tidy. On weekends, he played basketball at the local sports club or joined his parents in nearby Gifhorn for backyard barbecues. Friends called him the optimistic planner, the one who booked flights, kept tabs on the group's cash, and always made sure nobody missed a train. His mother, Karen, described him as cheerful and reliable. She said he was the sort who never complained, never showed signs of mental illness, and never left a social commitment hanging. There were no secrets, no debts, no drama. Just a young man with a fondness for football, a regular spot at the cafeteria table, and a life that looked as ordinary as they come. In every way that mattered, Lars was grounded. He had a job, a family, a routine, and friends who trusted him. He was the last person you would expect to vanish without a trace. Golden Sands, Bulgaria. The kind of place travel agents pitch as a safe bet. Sun, sand, and all-inclusive drinks for less than a weekend at home. Lars and 4 friends landed at Varna Airport on June 30th, 2014. Their tickets booked months in advance. The itinerary mapped out in a group chat that buzzed with jokes and countdowns. Their hotel reservation, logged under Lars's name, covered a full week from June 30th to July 7th. 5 Germans, 1 beach resort, 7 days of late breakfasts and cheap cocktails. The group checked into the Barkalow Horizon, a sprawling complex perched above the Black Sea. Their room keys, stamped with digital timestamps, show a routine back and forth from the pool, the bar, the strip of neon-lit clubs that pulsed after dark. Lars was the unofficial treasurer, keeping an eye on the shared cash envelope and double-checking everyone's passports before bed. Most days blurred together. The friends lounged on rented beach chairs, played football on the sand, and swapped stories about work and girlfriends back in Germany. Lars, usually the first one up, made sure everyone got to dinner on time and reminded them to drink water before heading out. He was the steady one, never the loudest at the bar, but always the guy who knew which bus to catch back to the hotel. The last night, July 7th, their bags were packed and the airport taxi was booked for the next morning. The plan was simple: fly home together, share photos, and laugh about sunburns and hangovers. No one expected that only 4 would make it back to Berlin. Lars's name would linger on the hotel ledger, the only one not checked out. Saturday night in Varna. The beachfront was crowded, music spilling from open doors, and the air thick with the smell of fried food and cheap beer. Lars and his friends were winding down at a McDonald's near Sophia Street, a familiar stop for tourists at the end of a long day. Just after 10:30, a group of local football fans approached. Witnesses later described them as young men in Cherno-Moor jerseys, loud and already looking for trouble. Words were exchanged. No one remembers exactly what was said, only that it turned heated fast. The fight broke out in seconds. Lars tried to back away, but one of the men swung hard, catching him on the right ear. His friends saw him stumble, clutching the side of his head, while the others shouted and shoved until staff intervened. The scuffle ended quickly, but the damage was done. Lars left the restaurant visibly shaken, his ear ringing, balance off, and pain setting in. Early the next morning, he made his way to Medical Center Mladost and was seen by Dr. Kostov. The examination confirmed what Lars already suspected. His eardrum had been ruptured. The doctor noted hearing loss and vertigo and prescribed a course of antibiotics, cifuroxime, 500 milligrams twice a day. But the key detail came in the doctor's warning: no air travel. Flying with a perforated eardrum could lead to permanent damage, even death. The police report, filed that same night, listed the incident as a minor assault with no weapons involved. Statements from Lars's friends were clear: he hadn't provoked the fight. Security camera footage from the bar later backed this up, showing the moment of impact and Lars's immediate reaction. This injury changed everything. While his friends packed to go home, Lars was left with a doctor's note, a prescription, and a decision he never planned for. The chain reaction that followed started right here, with a single blow on a crowded street and an ear injury that would keep him in Bulgaria long after the holiday was supposed to end. When the sun came up on July 7th, Lars was alone. His friends, bound for Berlin, hugged him goodbye outside the hotel lobby and left him standing on the curb with a doctor's note and a battered ear. The group taxi rolled away. From that moment, Lars's world seemed to shrink. He checked into a cheap room at Hotel Color, kept the curtains drawn, and barely touched his phone except to call home. The tone of his messages shifted. He told his mother he felt unsafe, that people might be following him. He asked about money transfers, then abruptly warned her not to trust anyone. By mid-afternoon, his anxiety kept spiking. He called his mother again, voice tight and hurried. He whispered that they were after him, that he did not know who, and he asked his mother to block his credit card. The call log shows several short, fragmented calls, sometimes just a few seconds, sometimes a minute, each one more frantic than the last. He avoided the antibiotics prescribed by Dr. Kostov, telling his mother he feared they were poisoned. He refused to pick up his medication from the pharmacy, convinced someone there was watching him. That night, Lars barely slept. He texted a friend that he thought someone had put something in his food. When his mother suggested he go to the German embassy, he said it was not safe. Even hotel staff later remembered him pacing the halls, peering through the lobby windows, and double-checking the locks on his door. What started as an ordinary medical delay had become something else entirely, a spiral of fear that left Lars stranded, isolated, and sure that danger was closing in. By the time he headed for Varna Airport the next morning, his mind was racing with threats no one else could see. Lars arrived at Varna Airport just after 8:30 in the morning. He looked tired, carrying only a small backpack, his face drawn and anxious. Instead of heading straight for check-in, he walked to the airport medical office. The clinic logbook records his name, the time, and a brief note. Ear pain, vertigo, anxiety. Dr. Kostov, the airport physician, recognized him from the earlier visit and examined the injured ear again. Swelling, some redness, but no new damage. The doctor repeated his warning. Flying could be dangerous with a ruptured eardrum. He offered over-the-counter painkillers and suggested Lars wait another day or two before boarding a plane. Lars declined the medication, glancing nervously at the door, asking if anyone else had come looking for him. While the doctor stepped out to update the clinic log, Lars pulled out his phone. The call to his mother lasted just over 2 minutes. His voice was tense and barely above a whisper. He told her he could not stay here. "They are after me. I do not know who. Please help." He asked her to cancel his credit card, warning her not to trust anyone who called about him. The call log shows it was the last time his phone connected to a cell tower inside the airport. The doctor returned to find Lars pacing, eyes darting to the windows. He asked for a private room, then suddenly became agitated, insisting that someone was coming. The physician, concerned but unable to calm him, made a quick note in the file. Refused treatment, left abruptly. That was the last recorded human contact Lars Mittank had. No one saw him re-enter the departure hall. No one stopped him as he walked away from the clinic. Within minutes, he would appear on security footage, alone and frantic, running through the terminal as if chased by a threat no one else could see. Imagine watching someone you know on a security camera. 1 second, they are just a figure in the frame. The next, they break into a desperate sprint. That is what the world saw on the morning of July 8, 2014. Lars Mittank, alone in Varna Airport, suddenly bolts from the medical office. His backpack swings wildly as he races through the terminal, glancing back as if something or someone is right behind him. He does not stop at the exit. He slams through a glass security door, setting off the alarm at exactly 6:50, 6 and 14 seconds, the timestamp burned into the logbook. He does not slow down. He heads straight for the perimeter, vaults a chain-link fence in a single motion, and disappears into a field of sunflowers beyond the airport boundary. The security system records it all, almost. For 27 minutes and 27 seconds, the footage goes dark. The network video recorder, scheduled for a firmware update that morning, fails to restart automatically. The digital log shows a record stop event at 6:56, and nothing resumes until 7:23. By the time the cameras come back online, Lars is gone. No one can say for sure what happened in that gap. The system technical team later confirms there is no evidence of tampering, no signs of deliberate erasure, just a blank window, a malfunction at the worst possible moment. Airport staff and police scramble to respond. The alarm triggers a call to the local station. Officers arrive within minutes, following footprints through the grass. Dogs lose the scent at the edge of the woods. There are no more camera angles, no more recorded movements. Lars Mittank is officially missing, vanished in broad daylight. His last moments caught in a frantic dash that leaves only questions behind. The search will begin, but the trail is already cold. The only certainty is the footage, a young man running as if his life depended on it, then nothing but silence and static. Police arrived at Varna Airport within 10 minutes of the alarm. A search grid was drawn up almost immediately, covering 12 square kilometers of mixed forest, fields, and ravines around the airport's northern perimeter. The effort grew quickly, with more than 120 officers, 2 K-9 teams, and a military detachment for clearing brush. By nightfall, ground patrols fanned out in teams, working 6-hour shifts and logging GPS tracks to avoid overlap. Drones with thermal cameras swept the open canopy, while cadaver dogs searched dense undergrowth. Local volunteers joined in, some from hiking clubs, some just moved by the story. The family, led by Lars's mother, drove the back roads themselves, handing out flyers and talking to anyone who would listen. She coordinated with German consular staff and pleaded with Bulgarian authorities to keep the search active, refusing to leave Varna until every lead was exhausted. Despite the scale of the search, with more than 200 volunteers, specialist units, and nearly 90% of the terrain covered, no trace of Lars was found. The only certainty was the silence that followed his sprint into the woods. Within hours of the airport CCTV clip surfacing online, the story exploded. The footage of Lars sprinting out of Varna Airport turned viral almost overnight. More than 2 million YouTube views in the first 24 hours, with TikTok, Reddit, and Facebook pushing it even further. Hashtags multiplied. True crime forums dissected every second of the video, frame by frame, as armchair detectives speculated about what Lars might have seen or imagined just off camera. With the attention came a tidal wave of tips. Bulgarian police and German authorities were flooded with reports. Lars spotted at a train station in Prague, seen wandering a highway in Romania, mistaken for a homeless man in Vienna. Over 30 separate sightings poured in during the first week alone. Not one checked out. Each false lead pulled search teams and investigators away from the real work, burning up precious hours and resources. The noise only grew louder. Every new theory, every supposed sighting spawned more comments, more shares, more chaos. The digital crowd became its own force, relentless, passionate, and nearly impossible to control. For the investigators, every viral spike meant more clues to sift, but also more static to drown out the truth. The line between help and hindrance blurred, setting the stage for a case where fact and rumor would battle for years to come. 4 theories have kept this case alive, each circling the same 27 minutes of silence after Lars vanished beyond the airport fence. Theory 1. A sudden psychiatric break triggered by stress, injury, and fear. Dr. Helmut Krauss, a psychiatrist from Heidelberg, points to the possibility of a fugue state, where reality fractures and a person runs with no plan, no memory, just raw panic. Theory 2. A real threat. Some believe Lars was being chased, maybe by the men from the bar fight, maybe by someone else. Yet police found no evidence of pursuit, no sign of organized crime, and no credible witness who saw a second figure in the fields. Theory 3. Accidental death in the forest. The search teams covered nearly 12 square kilometers, but dense ravines and blind spots remained. Drones, dogs, and volunteers found nothing, not a shoe, not a scrap of clothing. Still, in those unsearched pockets, anything could have happened. Theory 4. Voluntary disappearance. Some online sleuths argue Lars staged his own vanishing to escape debts or start over, but his bank account sat untouched, his passport left behind, and his digital footprint went silent that same morning. Theories multiply, but answers do not. His mother never stopped searching. She still believes he is alive, somewhere, waiting to be found. Today, Lars Mittank would be 38 years old. If you have any information about his disappearance, contact the authorities. And if stories like this matter to you, subscribe, because we are just getting started. Today, Lars Mittank's face is still on missing persons lists. He would now be in his late 30s. The airport cameras captured a mystery that no investigation has cracked. In a world where travel is easier than ever, vanishing is not impossible. Somewhere, someone knows the truth. If you have any information about Lars, contact local authorities. And if these stories matter to you, subscribe. We're just getting started.